Alrighty, welcome everybody to She's of Love. And today we have Joe Rosati on the show once again to talk about grounding in uncertain times, which I feel like we were just talking before pressing record that it's very much needed. And I say this every time and I say this every year and every month, but I feel like it's just getting weirder and weirder and
That's
things are
because it
getting,
is.
well, it is getting weirder and weirder and things are kind of getting more chaotic and, you know, sorry, my alarm just went off. so yeah, I'm really interested to hear your perspective, Joe, on this and just to kind of I want all the advice I can get about grounding, to be honest. So
Yeah, and just staying calm in the
yeah,
chaos.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, well, first of all, thank you for having me back. So that's a wonderful to be invited back and to be bridging different countries. And I see you two are actually together this time.
yeah,
And
Yes.
maybe we'll get into that in a second. But I think right now it's really important with all the chaos and with these different stories that we're hearing and these different political figures. It sounds like they should be doing something and maybe they're doing something else and we don't know what's going on with that. I think if my intuition is correct and the people that I converse with are on the same page, a big part of that is to have us go inward and not be so focused on what's going on outside in the world and in the politics, in the day-to-day news. I find myself tuning out from it quite a bit. And so yeah, I think to start there would be great. And we'll get more into that. But I do want to ask, how is it? Because like I said, I know we do, having been a podcaster for a few years, I can't help but ask you questions. And I think maybe the audience wants to know, how is it that you two are together? I think that's so beautiful.
Yeah, I love your style, Joe. I love it. I love that it's a give and take with you. Like, yeah, I love that that we get you ask us questions. So Juliet, she decided she wanted to come home after her adventure in the UK. She was living in Ullapool in Scotland.
It's a tiny little fishing village, and I was there for 10 months, almost 11 months. But yeah, like a few just I don't know, it was many factors, but I just realized I wanted to come home and have a new adventure. Um, so I'm back home, at least for now, but I'm already planning my next trip, and I'm going to go in a van around Australia with one of my best friends. So, but I've been back. How long has it been now? 2 months?
Yeah.
Um, so it's been really nice being back home and getting just, I don't know,
Acclimatized.
acclimatized to.
It's a trip, but it's within, and sometimes traveling. It's the beauty of this is, so for the audience knows, we have no idea where we're going with this conversation. We just throw a couple little popcorn kernels and so the beauty is, let me ask you this. So did you find that in traveling overseas that it made you maybe want to travel and experience your own country and learn more about your own country?
Yeah, definitely. I also like I realized a lot of things to be grateful for about Australia. I mean, we definitely have our problems, and I'm not ignoring those, but I being away in the UK, for example, they have, like, I could go into copious amounts of detail and I won't, but they have a lot of other issues too. So it made me grateful for, I used to hate our public transport system and I used to think it was so crap. And then I went to the UK and I was like, oh, no, this is actually bad. It's actually really good in Sydney. And also just like the nature here, and I've dreamed of traveling around Australia in a van since I was like probably 14. I'm 22 now, so a decent amount of time, and it just hasn't happened. And so I feel like it's the right time to do it. And my friend actually from America is moving to Australia um, to go do this with me. So I'm now going to be able to share Australia with someone and show them around and kind of teach them the ways and experience experience Australia in a new way on top of that through the eyes of my friend who's never been before. So yeah, I definitely have a lot more appreciation for Australia after traveling 100%.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah, and I mean, and this leads back to the topic where, I mean, it's really important right now to focus on the positive and to
Yeah.
focus on the things that we can do and the things that we do have power over, because that's, you know, that can be a real challenge. Like I was just, you know, I'm usually up in Washington State, and after now doing Truth Stream for 3 years, we're finally in a place of feeling a bit more empowered so that we can at least afford to travel and support our friends and support different events. And so our dear friend Lewis Herms is running for governor in California. And there was, I think, 13 different people on stage. And it was an amazing debate, a gubernatorial debate. So the race for California governor is happening now, and it'll the actual election is not till, I believe, fall of 2026. But to witness Lewis speak in a way that's because he really tries to take a lot into consideration, right? And to have a debate that was set up to really bring attention to human trafficking in California, and he's aligned himself. Well, okay, I have a little something I want to share to your audience that, you know, maybe down the road people will hear in the States. But I believe when you have someone like Lara Logan, who's an incredible, she's a South African journalist, and then you have Dr. Douglas Frank, who's been to 48 states working on election reform, and you have those two asking the questions of Lewis, especially the fourth one in the debate regarding, you know, what have you been doing, you know, about human trafficking? What are you going to do about it? You know, really looking at it in a way to bring attention to it, and then have the other candidates start talking about it. Because I just feel we've really got to eradicate that. However this happens, because it's gonna take some help from above too. But if we can focus on eradicating human trafficking, then we can live in a world that was intended for us. Because what's been so challenging, I think, for many of us is learning the the reality of human trafficking and trying to live somewhat of a normal life, and also, you know, trying to let our friends know about it, but then they look at you like, what are you talking about? Because it's not in the mainstream news. And then because it's not in the mainstream news, some people don't want to talk about it. And so it's very challenging. And it's like knowing that that's going on and still trying to be positive, I think is where many of us are at that are in this movement.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just wanted to start with that, if that makes
Yeah.
sense.
I first of all, like, to have even a topic about it in a political debate where it's
Yeah.
being shared
That's huge.
publicly is a massive step. And I didn't even I couldn't even imagine that being talked about in
Yeah.
our government. Like it's just, it seems like this taboo subject that no one wants to tread on. And it, like, ever since a few years ago, like even before 2020, when we had our awakening to all of this and all the stuff that kind of goes on behind the scenes, before our like awakening, we also, like, we might have mentioned it on our last talk with you, Joe, but
Yeah.
we went to a talk, and a woman who helps women recover from the trauma of sex trafficking and stuff. We listened to her speak, and she said some crazy number that there's like over 100,000 women and children, like, and men actually, in sex trafficking right now in Sydney. And that was what, like, over,
That was more than 5 years ago.
it was, like closer to 10. I would say it was about 8 years ago. So I don't know what that number is looking like now. But it's such a massive encompassing issue, and no one seems to affects millions and millions and millions of people. And it's really scary, as particularly in a place like California, where, you know, models, I've heard so many stories of like models being invited to some, like, being invited to a date and it being turned into, you know, a dangerous situation. So I think I just wanted to kind of talk more on that and just cement that, recognize it, talk about it on the podcast, because it needs to be spoken about. So I'm glad you brought it up. Yeah, and it sounds amazing that.
Yeah, Joe, I wanted to ask you actually, because to me, you're kind of like in the thick of it, like, because you talk about it quite a bit. Your podcast addresses it regularly. It's part of your life. Like, it's really, really part of. You mentioned the last time we spoke that it was part of your awakening story. It's really prevalent to you. So I want to know what you do to stay grounded. Like, how do you deal with the feelings that come up for you, and talking to people? Like, what the people in your circle, how do they deal with it?
Great question. And that's the beautiful things about doing these shows. We never know exactly how it's real, it's raw. You're getting, I mean, this isn't something I've necessarily planned for. I think what keeps us going and doing the shows, just, you know, because we cover a very broad variety of subject matter on our show, and what is our why of doing the show was neither Scott nor I want to live in a world where we're not doing something about it. Because I mean, even now as a middle-aged male, I imagine if I was kidnapped and thrown into some kind of vehicle and felt completely, you know, helpless, I don't know what's going on, that's one thing. But to be a child and, you know, to be taken from your parents, out of your wherever situation you're in, like, I can't imagine what that would be like, because a childhood should be full of love and nurturing and safety and, you know, everything that we want for children. So how do I deal with it? Well, okay, there's a few ways. One is I do something called Wim Hof breathing. I try and do that every morning to get myself grounded. I have an amazing relationship with our family dog. Her name's Gigi. And I put a lot of my, I guess, the feelings that I would have towards a child, I'm able to somehow connect with an animal. So I think it's very important for us to have wonderful relationships with animals right now. I do something, and I do this with my mom. It's called Human Garage, and Human Garage is it's a way that we can help. I guess I'm not sure what the proper word is, but either restructure or reshape or put our fascia in our body back where it needs to be. And in fact, I sent Human Garage a message about 6 months ago to do an interview with them. And I'm actually going to be interviewing them on December 1st on Truth Stream, because it's really important to focus on our health and what we do have power over. You know, also regular walks, doing a lot to get in touch with nature. And then there might be more things that pop up in my head. Also doing, so through Truth Stream, if people are in the Northwest, I try and do like every 6 weeks or so events that are in person so people can give each other real hugs. And so I don't know if you've done that down in Australia, but maybe somehow you could pick a time and an area, and maybe you don't want to say it too early because it can be a little bit like, oh my gosh, who's going to show up at this thing? But if there's a way to gather interest in who might want to show up to actually see people, because there's people, Scott and I just got back from Ireland, and there was 6 women who watched Truth Stream or we interview on the show, and they all came to Ireland with us, and we went to go to a healing retreat, and then we actually just did an interview with a bunch of them. It was more of a round table, but I think if you can gather in person with like-minded people, and I find especially, I mean, it helps, of course, to have men there, but there's something about the nurturing of women that we all really, really need right now. And of course, it's great, like I said, to have some men show up, but it's very powerful because it's the women, I believe, who really inspired others to step out of their comfort zone and get into the movement, and then empower men to step up. There's something about women maturing early that feels like it's in many aspects of life. And so that's why I love that, that you've empowered so many people, but especially women, to come forward in your Facebook page. So those are some that I would say off the top of my head, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think they're very powerful ones too.
Yeah.
Like breathing is so powerful. We've got a friend who we met her through a business school that we went to. It was like an entrepreneur school, and then we stayed in touch with her, like we just clicked. And her journey has been amazing, like ours has been very, very parallel to our journey. And now she's a breathing coach, and she teaches people how to connect in to themselves through their breath. And she's always talking about how powerful it is. So, and what you said about being able to focus and develop and hone the things that are available to us physically is so important. I think being able to keep ourselves healthy, focus on the things that we can control in our lives, and our remaining making ourselves a priority. That's what I'm trying to say. Making ourselves a priority. And I think when we look outside ourselves and we're watching the news all the time and we're worrying about world events and we're, oh, this person's doing that and that person's doing that, we forget to focus on ourselves and our own health, and we become worried, and our health declines because of that.
Right.
And I think,
go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think that dilutes our power. It takes our power away from us when we do that.
Right. Well, and I think, when we look at the teachings of Christ, it's go within. It's you will do things, and I might be misquoting it, but even greater things than I. It's a Christ consciousness. If we are coming from an area of helping our fellow man and rise, like, think about it. If you help someone, and this is what I've been doing lately. There's a woman named Ellen, and she runs a podcast called Truth Teller Tales. And she was, I believe, inspired to do it by having a conversation with Joe Rambo and Dave and Mark on News Trees. And these are 2 channels that are friends of ours. And she basically wanted to start interviewing people in the forefront of the movement. And I saw that she wanted to do that. So I just said, okay, well, I'll be on your show. And she hadn't recorded any yet. So from there, I said, well, look, here's the deal. I'll be on your show, but where do you want to go with it? Where are you at? And so we helped her And these are just, I'll just say certain things that happen. We found out that if you're going to start a Rumble channel and you have at least 20 subscribers, well, then you can put the name of your podcast in the title. So people aren't just going to Rumble 54738 whatever, that her name now is in Truth Teller Tales. And so she's been getting a lot of great people on the show, but it feels so empowering to help other people and to take what we've spent years learning and distill that so that we can teach them, so they're off the ground running, because this is daunting enough as it is, right? To putting ourselves out there publicly, to have people not understanding what the heck we're doing. So the way I deal with it is by absolutely just helping as many people that I can. I mean, I can't help everyone, but the ones that are really wanting to make that leap and put themselves on the front line and do something really wonderful for this community, by all means, it's like, let me spend a few hours, let me get you set up right. Because it's like, it's like if you teach your child from the get-go how to do things a certain way, they might save them a few steps down the road if they're willing to listen. The thing is, a lot of adults might be more willing to listen than the children. So I love helping people start podcasts and help them shine and help them save a few steps, because that, I guess that's where I feel like I can be of service and not be so maybe drugged down by the outside world, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I love that, because that for me feels like an investment into the cause, into the thing that you're trying to break or grow, or like, if you want to diminish something like child trafficking or human trafficking, you want to get rid of it. Supporting the people who are in that group that are trying to do the same thing as you is an investment.
Yes.
And that's a great way of putting your energy into something that's going to help the world.
Yeah.
Like
and it makes you feel good.
What's that?
And it makes you feel really good too.
Yeah, it does. It's like teaching someone to fish, right? If I can help another podcaster. There was a gentleman I met at an event the other night, and down in Arizona, and he wants to start a podcast, but he also wants to start, and he's a contractor. He wants to start helping, build houses, and if he can make it affordable, and he can help put people in it that are deserving, that just need a chance to get started. Because the median age, it used to be in the 70s, I think this was in the US. I just saw this in two different posts today. Is it used to be like, you were around 25 years old when you bought your first house. Now you're closer to 40. Yeah. How are kids going to even start thinking? I mean, like, we can have this conversation right now. How are you supposed to buy a house? Where are you supposed to live?
It's even worse here. A normal house is $2 million in Sydney. A normal, like, almost crappy house.
Yeah.
Is 2 million at least.
Wow.
And in Sydney. And like, thank goodness, like, naturally I've always wanted to do this with the market or without the market being how it is, but my plan is to buy land out in the middle of, like, kind of nowhere and build my own kind of buildings on it, and tiny homes, and my own, like, community of people, and or whatever ends up happening. Or I buy a sailboat and just live on the sailboat. I've always lived a very, like, kind of a life outside of normal societal standards. I'm about to live in a van, and then I'll probably live in a boat, and then I'll try and live in a yurt on some random land somewhere. And that is more affordable. I mean, it's still very expensive, but it's a little bit more approachable, and hopefully I could buy things outright and not be loaded with debt and
Yeah, because that's the thing, isn't it? It's the debt.
it's the debt. Yeah,
It's the debt that hangs over you.
You could kind of pay like you get paid enough in Australia where you could kind of pay off 2 million in your life, and it wouldn't even be like, I mean, it would be a big deal. It's completely unnecessary, but it could happen. But then all these like loaded bits of interest, and I honestly, my friends, I mean, I naturally surround myself with like-minded people, so a lot of my friends are the same way, where they want to get land and they want to build their own homes on it.
That's the thing, actually, that I want to say about this topic, because when you're a young person looking at the future and you see this insurmountable dream of owning a house, and oh my God, it's so expensive and it'll never happen. But there's always alternatives. There's always ways around a problem.
And I think we look at the house path, the like American dream path.
Well, it's Australian dream too.
Well, yeah, but the saying is American dream.
Oh, not here.
Oh, we do have a saying Australian dream.
Oh yeah,
okay,
100%, 100%. Back in the 80s.
Okay.
It was
so there is
the Australian dream.
Australian dream,
yeah.
The Australian or American dream, which is basically the same thing.
Yeah.
It's kind of breaking down, and I think the housing crisis that's happening in Australia is making that breakdown for people, because when people realize this is ridiculous, then they ask, why am I even wanting to do this? Yeah. And when you ask yourself, why am I even, like, when you ask yourself why, you then look inward, like what you mentioned before about looking in instead of out. And people start to realize, what I actually want is stability and living, like most people just want to live in nature. Like that's a very human thing. And so there is a bigger movement now of community and like building communities and moving out into the country where life is a lot more affordable. So naturally it's just kind of taking place, and I'm sure the people who were making the houses go up and up and up in price maybe didn't mean for this to happen, but it's a natural consequence of it. So I would say that's the positive out of it. I mean, it's just shocking still, but
yeah, because when something is unattainable to you,
yeah,
then you've got to find a way around it. You've got to find a workaround.
Right.
So because you've got to live still.
Yeah.
So you've got to get creative with it.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm seeing happening now in Australia.
Yeah.
And so how, now to comment on that, I do believe that there are forces that are intentionally driving up the house prices.
I do too.
Yeah, definitely.
I do too.
There's a, it feels like there's an intentional movement to eradicate the family.
Yes.
The man and woman, that to make things unaffordable, to, I've heard of companies going in and buying houses for, let's say, 600 grand, and then putting one on the market for 900 grand, and they themselves will have someone buy it. So then it drives it up, and then it drives all the other prices of the houses up. Like, these are things that I've heard about. So what were you going to say on that component, Claudia? There was something you were going to say, and I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I had to get that out. So.
Yeah.
Right.
I think my train of thought was going along the lines of back when Juliet was, she was only a baby. Right. I could see back then what was happening in places like London, because, my husband was from England, so I spent quite a bit of time over there and saw how they were living, that they couldn't afford housing in the city. And I was like, wow, that's going to come here. That's happening here. And so I purchased a house knowing that in the future my children will be able to afford it, and thinking to myself, I'm doing this now, I'm purchasing my property now, I can just about afford to buy a house, and so that when they are old enough, I can give it to them, and it will give them a head start in an economy that it's just not going to be feasible for them when they're old enough to buy for themselves. And you've got to, I mean, even if you didn't have that foresight, which I had back then, you've got to find ways around the problems that are happening, because then the problems that are coming down the pipeline, the way I look at it is that's forcing me to be more creative. That's forcing me to say this system that's being provided to us is not working for me. It doesn't work for me. I'm sorry, but I'm not going to buy into that BS. Okay, because it's being like, it's there. I can see it. It's being offered to me if I want to buy into it, but I don't have to say yes to a house. I don't have to say yes to buying a property. I don't have to say yes to getting a home loan or a car loan or buying the best TV or getting lattes every week. I don't have to buy into that keeping up with the Joneses narrative.
Right.
I can say, no, I want to live my life so that I don't have a financial noose around my neck. I'm going to get a van, or I'm going to rent some land, and I'm going to put my little tiny house there, and I'm going to have the life that gives me the freedom to be who I want to be.
Yeah.
And people can look at me and say, oh, you're weird. That's so alternative. But I'd rather have that than a checkbook that I'm writing checks from that don't have a backing to it, because it's coming from, there's interest
and
paid.
You know what really bothers me is this false sense of security that this life of university,
the lying.
University, and then meeting someone, well, graduating, going into a job, and then meeting someone, buying a house, having kids, like this whole like life path that we've been drilled to, like it's been so deeply drilled into our societal like ways that when you don't do it, you're not only like, I've been shamed so many times by people. Like when I left school early, I had a mum in front of all of my friends talk to me about how I shouldn't be leaving, and I'm making a big mistake, and I'm young, and like in front of all of my friends.
Can I say something about that?
I'm not done yet.
Oh, okay.
That like what really gets me, it's all about like what drives this like societal way of being is this like sense of security that this life brings you. But I have friends who went to university and
they can't get a job,
spent all their money, and then they've graduated and they can't get a job with their degree.
Yeah.
So they've gone into another career path that had nothing to do with their degree, and they could have done it before uni.
Yeah.
Or then you have the whole buying a house thing, which is like not even viable with how the economy is at the moment. And if you do, like, I'm sorry, but if someone told me that they bought a house and it was like, they weren't majorly rich or anything, like they were just normal kind of like middle class, and they told me they bought a house, I would be judging them, because it's like,
how do you afford it?
Well, no, why? Like, because
You're
obviously,
spending $1 million for a $300,000 house.
yes, like
Yes.
it's insane. And
Because they've been told that that's what they
what
should be
that,
doing,
yeah,
and that's security and stability.
but also
Right.
this,
How are you going to recreate yourself if you can't,
Yes,
if you're tied into a 30-year mortgage and
that's
you're
right. That's the
and you
question.
have student debt, and you
right?
have,
What do you do?
like, it's just like this chase for money, and it's like spend more than you have, spend more than you have, spend
Yeah.
more than
Right.
you have. And
Absolutely.
It's debt slavery.
I live
That's what it is.
I live by like, at least at this stage of my life, like I only live by my means. I don't buy
You
any.
did say as you live at home with me.
Well, yeah, but I didn't. But I didn't before.
Yeah, that's right.
But you know, like now now
Jokes, Julia,
yeah,
jokes.
but now I treat myself to, you know, fun things that I couldn't
Yeah.
before. So
Yeah.
I'm loving it.
Well,
But
in a lot of cultures, it used to be the grandparents and the parents and the grandchildren all lived together, and it wasn't anything that was out of the ordinary. And
yeah,
maybe that's what this is forcing us to do, is be
Yeah, exactly.
yeah,
Yeah, and Joe, that's exactly it, right? I love that you brought that up, because the intention, and we can use this example for so many different things. The intention of the system, which you mentioned previously, is to dismantle the family system, right? The family unit. They're changing the genders around. They're, like this narrative that we're listening to in the media at the moment. It's like so confusing. They're making housing unaffordable for people, blah, blah, blah. But what it's actually doing is forcing families back together.
I mean, hopefully for most of us, I mean, it might be challenging for others, but if you can look to make lemonade out of lemons, if you can look at the beauty of a situation, if you can find the silver lining, it's like,
Yes.
that's the only way I can live is if I can find something, one kernel of hope or beauty or something within it, because that's what keeps me going.
yeah.
Yes, we love that.
How to cleanse the body after vaccination.
To cleanse the body after vaccination, one must first understand the magnitude of what has been injected. Beyond the surface ingredients, hidden adjuvants like aluminum salts, graphene oxide, polyethylene glycol, and undisclosed nanotechnologies infiltrate the body, embedding themselves into tissues, crossing the blood-brain barrier, and hijacking cellular processes. First, targeted detoxification of heavy metals becomes critical. Glutathione, the master detoxifier, must be replenished aggressively, as vaccination depletes it intentionally to leave the immune system vulnerable. Intravenous or liposomal forms ensure direct cellular absorption, bypassing digestive sabotage.
Elixir is here now and completely disrupting the health supplement market. Nothing else out there allows you to transform your daily routine with the power quartet of our proprietary stasis nanotechnology glutathione, vitamin B12, vitamin D3, and MCT oil. Imagine starting your day feeling energized, focused, detoxed, light, vibrant, and ready to conquer anything. Glutathione is your body's master antioxidant, fighting off those nasty free radicals and detoxing you from toxins like heavy metals, microplastics, and forever chemicals. It has also been shown to help your body restore hair color and helps with memory and learning. And it helps maintain healthy skin and processes that reduce the signs of aging and degeneration. Elixir gives you the best nutritional foundation you can find in one supplement. The performance boost and results you gain from Elixir are far superior to any other supplement currently on the market. This is the holy grail of singular supplements today. With our advanced proprietary stasis nanotechnology, the vital nutrients in our Elixir formula are absorbed immediately in the mouth, bypassing the hostile digestive tract, which gives you the boost you need, right when you need it. So why wait?
I recently discovered this thing called solar punk. Have you heard of solar punk before?
I have not, Jessica. Let's hear
So
more.
it's kind of like cyberpunk, like in the terms of like what it's like a genre of, it's like solar punk is like a kind of aesthetic genre, like vibe. if we will.
Right.
Kind of how
Is
cyberpunk
is it made its way into either culture or media or music or
Yeah.
film?
Yeah, so it's like, I mean, it's kind of only just started, so it's not really, but
Solar
like,
punk.
yeah, so it's kind of, imagine like Studio Ghibli a little bit vibes. And what it is, it's like a positive look on the future and a mesh of technology and nature in and humanity balance, like progress with technology in line with nature. And it's like this, if you look up solar punk, it's like these animations and pictures and this like um genre of people kind of
Creative thought process.
creative thought process. So like imagine like someone living on a farm, but they grow their plants with like solar powered energy and off the grid kind of,
Oh yeah, right. I
like,
love it.
but also that scientific, like,
They use science to live off the grid.
Yeah, and it's this hopeful look to the future, and almost this like, the way that I see it is, because when we talk about the future in media and everyone thinks we're all going to die and we're all going to kill ourselves, and like it's AI Matrix, like all the robots, and I'm not saying that that's not true, but it's definitely going to be true if we all keep thinking that is going to be
submit to that. Yeah, we've got to think outside of it. Like, this is what I
Yeah.
love about a blend of different generations. And you know, I'm a guy, your mom is here, you're here, and we're just having a beautiful conversation, trying to help educate each other on things that maybe on our own we're not familiar with. And that's what I love about the youth, especially someone who's educated and articulate and world traveled as yourself. You're helping educate folks like your mom and I that there is something like solar punk to look at how can we take these technologies and the historical beauty of nature and somehow enmesh them to make it something that's positive rather than going down the dystopian direction.
Yes, it's exactly that. And so I think if we put this more focus on solar punk and we put that in our movies instead of cyberpunk, because cyberpunk is all like, when you think of Avatar, you know, like the first scenes of Avatar when he's still in the bar, and like, you know, when you look at futuristic movies, anything based in the future, like Blade Runner or whatever,
or Elysium,
it's
like
all
movies
cyberpunk,
like
right? And it's this like almost negative, like city dwelling, like rats everywhere, neon lights, like very dark and like hopeless. And it's still really cool, like vibey wise, like it still kind of looks cool, but it's like
Ready
there's
Player
this negative
One.
Yeah, Ready Player One.
Yeah,
like there's this real negativity to it.
Yeah.
Solar punk is the exact opposite, and it's based in nature, but it's this like, I don't know, I know it's kind of fictional, but with the media nowadays and how, you know, the CIA funds all these movies in Hollywood and how Hollywood is, and you know how it messes with our brain chemistry. If we always, the reason why we're so focused, I truly believe, especially particularly my generation, is like,
so
we're all gonna
what?
die,
like
on so focused on the negative, like the world's gonna end. And I honestly can't stand it, because I think, don't ever throw plastic in the ocean, of course. Don't ever, like, cut down your emissions as much as possible, but the fault isn't ours. This world is run by corporations that make billions times more issues and like damage to the environment than we do.
They're the ones packaging the stuff.
Yes.
If this is how you buy it, then what?
Yeah, but the focus is always
like
put onto us.
Like, it's humans, and it's like, no, it's not humans. It's corporations. It's literally this excuse of government, it's a corporation. Everything is a corporation. Business is government now, and it's like all together mushed in one, and it's about business and making the most money, and it's got nothing to do with the individual on an individual level, which is why the world looks like what it is, because corporations aren't even humans. They're run by humans, but they're like these monsters that are, you know,
corporation means dead entity.
Yeah, it is
a corpse.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
And like, you know, humans build them, humans create them, but like we talk about this AI stuff, which is also a bad thing on its own. But corporations are like this AI that we like this artificial intelligence almost that we've created
in business.
And it's already like, look at our world now, because
it's a system that was created. This is what I see it as. Corporations is it was a system that was created outside of common law. It was outside the law of the earth and the land and of human beings. It's and it says it in the name, corporation. For wealthy people to hide behind, so that they had an excuse to take over financially from whatever they saw fit, whatever excuse that they wanted to do.
And because it's I don't know, I think because these corporations are so big and run by so many people that are like horrible.
Yeah, which, you know, they put profit before people.
They put profit before people, but I feel like there's this psychological thing where, oh, it's my corporation, it's not me.
Yes.
Like almost like my corporation.
That's what I mean when they hide behind it. That's
like
what I mean.
It's almost, and I can't stand it, and that's what we need to put this focus on. And so that's why I like solar punk, because it's going back to community.
You're so passionate, Julia.
I know I am.
How do you find, if someone wants to learn more about solar punk, I mean, is it a website, or is it just kind of a general thing that's out there?
It's an ethos.
It's just an ethos that's out there. I would look it up in Instagram, because all these amazing reels pop up of like people make animations based around this concept and this like vibe and aesthetic
on Instagram, right?
On Instagram, on YouTube, just even Google, like looking at images, and Pinterest.
I'll probably see it everywhere now.
Yeah, it's like seeping in more and more, and I want it to grow, and I want it to get into like movies and media. But if anyone's kind of watched, like, it kind of reminds me of Howl's Moving Castle, if anyone's familiar with Studio Ghibli. And like, it's just very fun and bright and green and just like hopeful.
It's a hopeful.
Are you sharing some of this on your Instagram?
I've reposted some things, but yeah, I will.
I need to make sure that we follow you and we can help kind of get this out there. So it's really teaming up, you know. And I'll say this: what's interesting about this movement is there's a lot of people we'd like to lock arms with, but they're either in certain sectors or they're kind of in their own little, I don't know. It feels sometimes like it's run by ego.
Yeah.
And that they don't really want to have attention drawn to anywhere outside of their show. And where Scott and I, we just want to team up with like-minded people and change the world. It's not about, you know, what role we're playing.
No, it's about the cause.
Yeah, it's because the creator doesn't work. The creator doesn't work like that.
Yes,
we need to team. So this whole phrase, which some have heard, is this: where we go one, we go all. I don't see a lot of the all part of it. It feels like it's missing, and so I would love to team up and help get more information out there. And like I said, like, you know, I can't necessarily read all of my inbox and messages and stuff all the time, and it's not intentional. I'm trying to keep up. But if we can team up with people that have a bit of an influence and we can share their work and help get it out there, it definitely helps, because I think that's what's needed. Because like I said, I've never even heard of the solar punk before, and it makes
Yeah.
so much
It's new. Yeah,
I'm glad
it's
to
new.
spread it.
Yeah. And I just want to say the thought I had when you were talking about that mum who shamed you.
But I don't really.
I know, but I just wanted to say I had an experience this week with my son, who he's 15 and he's homeschooled and he wants to be an electrician. And
Yes, that's
yeah.
a great idea. I was going to say, yeah, more tradesmen, please go ahead.
Yes, exactly. And I mean, he's perfect for that because he's so interested in circuits and maths and everything. It's just perfect for him. But we went to an interview at it's called it's like an educational apprenticeship business that they take apprentices in and they find them placements and they help educate them. It's like a little incubator for young apprentices, right? And he had an interview with them this week. And because Bryn is homeschooled, that's not a traditional path for education here in Australia. It's more accepted in America, but here in Australia, if you're homeschooled, it means that you didn't fit in at school because you fell behind, or you had social problems with the school and the teachers and the other kids. Like, there's a real cloud that kind of covers homeschooling here.
Right.
And that wasn't the case for us. My son chose to be homeschooled because of our belief systems and it felt right for him.
It was all his choice, though.
Yeah, we didn't want to put that, because it's his life. We didn't want to, make that decision for him. So he
Right.
asked us to homeschool him. Anyway, when we're in the interview, rather than the people who were interviewing him make a judgment and assumption about that choice, they asked us why we chose homeschooling.
Beautiful.
And were curious. They came into the conversation with curiosity and
Thank God. Just
wanted.
that alone is huge.
I know. And they wanted to understand from our point of view why we would choose something like that. And I was over the moon. I walked out of that interview feeling so buoyed up and so
Good.
positive, because like Juliet said, she's only 7 years older than Bryn. So in that 7-year period, something has happened to, shift people's perspectives about those non-traditional educational pathways, which to me,
in a good way, in a positive way.
in a good way.
Beautiful.
Yes.
See, I didn't know. This is nice for me to hear. That's why it's not just about interviewing me, guys. We got to have the ladies talk here. It's awesome. It's so
We've
cool.
taken over this episode.
Yeah, we have. You've
Sorry,
been interviewing
you've
us.
been interviewing us this episode.
Yeah. To put that out there, because it was a positive thing that happened where I saw what Juliet's talking about, the judgment of people. Oh, you're not going down that traditional route. Are you sure you know what you're doing? You should stay at school. It's a bad decision for you, whereas they met Bryn, they saw how articulate he is. They realized that we were not the normal judgment of a family that would homeschool in their minds.
He had a presence about him that intrigued them, and they're probably kind of, what's going on here? We got to know.
Yeah, exactly. And so that positive, I just wanted to kind of like put that positive out there, that you bring your vibe to the table. If you make a decision about something that's not in the mainstream, and it's something that you really believe in, and it's created a positive effect in your life, and you tell people about it, I really believe that you can open doors that way.
Yes, absolutely. 1,000,000%. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this has been great. I can't believe this has been an hour already.
I know. Yeah, thanks for listening to us.
Yeah, Joe. We'll
It's
get
more of a
around to
win-win that way.
interviewing you one
It's
day.
so much more of a win-win. I mean, we're very guest centric, and it's very hard for me to just have my perspective, because when it feeds off each other, it's such more elaborate, beautiful conversation. And so
Yeah, I'll send you this file and you can share it with your people.
I
too.
will. I'll be happy to.
Yeah.
It's been lovely talking to you again.
Yes.
And would love to have you back on again.
Of course. Yeah, we could do this every couple months. And for my audience, please let them know where they can find you, which is nearly 250,000 people on Facebook. So please.
Well, it's 300,000. We hit 300,000 yesterday.
Really? Oh my.
Yeah.
So cool.
Crazy, dude.
Yeah,
Wow.
it is crazy.
It is the She's of Love
Yes.
page.
She's of Love on Facebook.
Yeah.
And She's of Love on Instagram.
On Instagram as well.
Okay, good. Then I'm going to make sure I follow that. We're Truth Stream.
Yeah.
And then for Scott and I, it's Truth Stream, and it's Truth Stream with Joe and Scott on Rumble. But if you go to Linktree and type in Truth Stream, we're the only ones that are there, and we have
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, we'll be in touch.
Yes. See ya.
Right.
Bye.
I will never settle for ordinary supplements or skincare ever again after discovering Sirona. Let me tell you why. Sirona's revolutionary nano-sized products are designed to simplify your health and skincare routine, where less is more. Imagine the power of nano-glutathione and nano-CBD, as well as stem cells and other nanonutrients in every drop. Take Elixir for a daily boost of vitality, detox, and immunity. Or Panacea, which is perfect for improving cognitive and gut health. And don't forget our Skin Mist and Skin Plus Menet Mask, our skincare duo that leaves your skin shockingly youthful. But why nano-sized? Because smaller particles mean superior absorption and faster results. More bang for your buck and better health for you. But wait, there's more. Sirona's affiliate program offers generous payouts and overrides. That means you can earn substantial income just by sharing what you love. Join a community of wellness enthusiasts who are not only transforming their health, but also building thriving businesses that can be passed on generationally. With our 30-day guarantee, it's a risk-free way to start your journey to better health and wealth. So why wait? Dive into Sirona's next-level wellness solutions today. Visit the link below to get started. Sirona. Unlock your full potential. Remember, with Sirona, you're not just investing in your health, you're investing in your legacy. Here's to living your best life.